Hello YouTube, Martin Ferret here again, back with more stuff. I wanted to make a video to talk about the Pokemon trading card market and nostalgia. Now, it's generally a bad idea for me to give my opinion on Pokemon because I tend to offend everyone when I do, and by everyone I mean all four of my watchers, because my opinions are pretty strong and they're out there. However, I feel my opinions are valid, and at the very least I'm bored and want to make a video, so deal with it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Other people who are more insightful than I, more articulate than I, and frankly more intelligent than I, have already beaten this dead horse into the ground. They've analyzed why the market's the way it is, why these cards are demanding obscene prices. And their summary can generally be condensed to two words: Logan Paul. And I don't disagree with that. Not at all. However, there is a secondary element that some add to their reasoning, and that is nostalgia. Now, I don't fully agree with that. I don't think that nostalgia is a significant contributor to the price gouging that we've been seeing lately. Certainly, it's a factor. Logan Paul himself would say that nostalgia is what fueled his box breaks and his obscene spending. But his nostalgia isn't everyone else's. Logan Paul's nostalgia is not causing people to go to Target and Walmart and clear the shelves of any and all things Pokemon. Particularly Gen 8 stuff, because that's what's for sale right now. Or would be if people could get it. No one's nostalgic for Gen 8. It's brand new. As of this video, anyway. So you can't cite nostalgia. It wasn't Paul's Pokemon that people cared about. It was what he was spending on them. And others wanted a piece of that. It's greed. From day one, in the 90s, Pokemon was all about gotta catch them all. There's always been an element of greed attached to Pokemon. Now, I am a Pokemon collector, or was, rather, and player of the game, more significantly. And I've been around a while. I was around and actively buying cards back when Base, Jungle, and Fossil were still readily available at Walmart. So, am I nostalgic for, say, these Gen 1 cards and so forth? No, of course not. And I don't know how I could be. For one thing, the trading card game is still around. It hasn't gone anywhere. I can't miss it. Another thing is that Gen 1 also hasn't gone anywhere. Nintendo has been milking Gen 1 since day one, and they will continue to do so. I don't pine for the days of Charmeleon or Growlithe or Pikachu because they're still here. Each sold separately. You know, they are still here. So if I'm nostalgic for anything Pokemon related, it's for things that it's for things I can't purchase. It's experiences that I had growing up. It's the enthusiasm I had for the trading card game. For example, I got into Pokemon when I was a teenager, and at the time I didn't have a job. I went looking for work because I wanted to buy cards. And the first job that came along was a grueling one. It was as an assistant on a bread route. I had to get up at 2:30 in the morning to do that. Yeah. Now think about it. I was used to sleeping till 10. Another thing about my Pokemon experiences is that Pokemon was the first thing that I was into that other people were also into at the time. Like, my interests had been fairly niche. Like pencils and Hot Wheels. Nobody cared about those things. And I didn't have any internet at the time, so it's not like I could communicate with other people who shared my interests. But Pokemon? So many people, everybody was on board with this with me. You can't get that back. I was also a member of later on, of an online Pokemon trading community. I made a lot of friends there. I made a lot of enemies. We would trade autographed cards with each other through the mail to build credibility. In fact, I still have some of those. See that? Recognize any of these names? Probably not, but if you do, you're awesome. But you see, this is what I'd be nostalgic for. This sort of thing. I'm not nostalgic for a trading card game or a franchise that hasn't gone anywhere, and I can't be. And again, I wouldn't be nostalgic for Generation 8. If I'm going to buy something, if I'm going to make a nostalgia-driven purchase, it's going to be for this. It wouldn't be for something I could buy from Target right now. No. And digressing a little bit, but to be frank, I'm kind of weary of nostalgia in general. I'm tired of throwbacks, I'm tired of references, I'm tired of movie remakes. The only thing that these really tend to do for me is they remind me that the things from my childhood are not as great as I remember, and that I have a foot in the grave. And I'm not too interested in feeding that, because that's all negative. I don't know. So, my conclusion as to why the market is the way it is right now, it's not nostalgia. I mean, for some people, maybe it is. Maybe maybe for some purists out there. But for the most part, it's greed. Let's just call it what it is. Now, there is, from an investment perspective, there is a bit of security in greed, because greed is a everlasting element of the human condition. It's not going anywhere. But greed's appetite does change, and I don't think it's going to always be for the Pokemon trading card game. So if one were to ask me, do I think that the Pokemon trading card market will crash? Well, yes, because nothing lasts forever. Also, one has to consider that the trading card game will change, because it's not independent of the video games. When the video games change, and they will eventually, though it doesn't seem like they ever will, the trading card game is going to change with it. Once battling becomes more of a secondary or tertiary element in the video games, the card game is going to change. And it may change in such a profound way that the new game that we would get from it won't even be compatible with the old game. It'll be a separate thing entirely. Now, that can be good. A lot of people do ask for change in Pokemon. But change is a risky thing, because though people crave it and demand it even, they're usually dissatisfied when they get it. For myself, like I said, I was really into Pokemon. What caused me to step away from it a little bit? Well, it was when Expedition was released, and with Expedition came those e-reader things on the sides of the cards. I hated that. I hated looking at it. I actually stopped buying newer booster packs after that. I wouldn't buy anything that came out after Neo Destiny. I was concerned mostly with finishing the decks that I started. Now, of course, I've added some newer cards since then, but not with 0.1% of the enthusiasm that I originally had. It doesn't take much in terms of change to turn people off. It really doesn't. Now, I think that if the game really were to change that way, then these cards here, purchases of them would be more nostalgia-driven. But I think that the customer demographic would change, because it wouldn't be people buying them to resell, per se. It would be people buying them as end customers. People who remember the card game, they want to buy a piece of it and put it in a drawer. And if they're end customers, then they don't care about PSA 10 and this and that and the other. They just want to have the cards. And there's billions of these things. And 30 or 40 years from that time, nobody will be buying these cards out of nostalgia, because nobody will be nostalgic for this game. It would be for whatever form Pokemon, took years and years after. You see what I mean? So, yeah, that's how I see it. Maybe I'm dead wrong and I think too simplistically, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Anyway, my next video will probably be on the subject of vintage wooden pencils, meaning nobody will see it, but I'll make the video anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to say. I hope you're not too angry with me. Not that I really care, there's nothing to cancel. But anyway, talk to you guys later. Ciao.